Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to dive deep into the world of single sign-on, or SSO. We're going to demystify the two main ways it works, what we call IDP-initiated and SP-initiated. So let's jump right in.
I mean, seriously, who isn't? You've got one password for your email, a totally different one for your project management tool, another one for your cloud storage. It is just a constant headache, right? Well, that exact problem, password overload, is precisely what we're here to talk about.
And the solution, you guessed it, is single sign-on. The best way to think about it is like a master key for your entire digital life. It's this brilliant authentication system that lets you use just one single ID to get into a whole bunch of different applications. It's time to say goodbye to that sticky note covered in passwords.
So here's what we've got on tap for this explainer. We're going to look at the two main ways to do SSO, walk through what each of those journeys looks like, tackle a really key security concern, and then we'll wrap up by talking about what really matters when you're choosing an SSO provider.
Okay, so when we talk about SSO, there are really two distinct ways it can happen. And, the difference between them, it all boils down to one very simple question. Where does your login journey actually begin?
And this, right here, lays it out perfectly. With IDP-initiated SSO, you start from your home base. Think of this as your company's central login portal. That's the identity provider. But with SP-initiated SSO, you start directly at your destination. That's the actual application you want to use, which we call the service provider.
All right, so let's actually walk down that first path. We're going to start with the IDP-initiated journey, which, like we just said, always kicks off from that central identity hub.
So how does this actually play out? Well, first, you log into your company's main portal, your identity provider. From that dashboard, you see all your apps, and you just click on the one you need. Then, behind the scenes, the IDP sends this secure message over to that application, basically vouching for you. The app gets that message, accepts it, and boom, you're in. Simple as that.
Now, this method brings up that classic tech trade-off, flexibility versus security. On one hand, it's super flexible. It's actually essential for some older apps that can't generate their own login requests. But, and this is a big but, it has a pretty significant security hole. It can be vulnerable to what are called man-in-the-middle attacks. Don't worry, we'll talk about how to plug that hole in just a bit.
All right, let's flip the script and look at the other path, the SP-initiated journey. Honestly, this is probably the one you're most familiar with in your day-to-day life, because it starts right where you want to go, the application itself.
Let's walk through this one. So, you go directly to, say, Salesforce or Google Workspace. You type in your email address, then the application redirects you to your company's familiar login page. That's the IDP, to make sure it's really you. Once your IDP gives the thumbs up, it zips you right back to the application and you're fully logged in.
The huge advantage here is just the user experience. It feels totally natural to just go to the app you want to use. The downside? Well, because you're bouncing between two different systems, there are more moving parts. So if an error pops up, it can sometimes be a little trickier to figure out exactly where that connection broke down.
Now remember that security risk we mentioned a minute ago with the IDP-initiated flow, that man-in-the-middle attack? Let's tackle that head-on, because at the end of the day, a good SSO setup has to be a secure one.
So, how do we lock this down? Well, first, you drastically shorten what's called the response trust length. Think of it like this. You're shrinking the amount of time a door is left unlocked, which gives a hacker a much smaller window to sneak in. Second, you use replay detection. This makes sure that even if a hacker records your login data, they can't reuse it. It's like a concert ticket that can only be scanned once. And finally, you tell your apps to reject any unsolicited responses. Basically, the app won't let anyone in unless it was the one that asked for the key in the first place.
And all of this brings us to a really important point. We've just compared these two different methods, but the choice between them, it's not actually the most critical decision you're going to make.
So which one is it? IDP or SSO initiated? The real answer is neither. The real key to a successful and, more importantly, a secure SSO setup is choosing a modern, reliable provider that has rock-solid security controls and can handle both of these methods without breaking a sweat.
I mean, a truly great SSO provider needs to connect you seamlessly and securely to your entire digital toolkit. We're talking about the CRM you live in, like Salesforce, your project trackers like Atlassian, and all those daily hubs for collaboration like Google Workspace and Dropbox.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When you think about how your organization manages access, ask yourself this. Is your SSO just a simple key? Convenient, sure, but maybe a little vulnerable.
Or is it a master key that comes with its own bodyguard, putting security first every single step of the way? The difference is everything.